fastest-growing online personal trainer whose straight-talking, no-nonsense Instagram videos have gained him over 1 million followers.
James Smith has written 3 Sunday Times best-selling books, with his latest called How to Be Confident, and I was very confident where I picked it up there. Very confident, where he teaches people that anyone can learn and practice the art of confidence, and he joins us now, and it's lovely to see you. Thank you for coming in. So, those we've mentioned those #1 bestsellers, the Sunday Times, not a diet book in 2020, not a life coach. These are no-nonsense guides. You don't muck about. With this one, How to Be Confident, you said you loved this. It's your most favourite because you knew nothing about it.
So when I got asked to write the book by my publishers, I was excited because, first of all, I knew that so much I was going to write about, I would learn about in the process. And I spent a year learning about confidence and taking other people's kind of, life advice. Some of the stuff out there is truly terrible, whether it's putting your arms up in a toilet cubicle or forcing a smile. There's a lot of bad advice out there, same as fitness, same as a lot of other areas. So it was exciting for me because every day when I started writing the book, I didn't know where I'd end up. And I learned a lot myself in the process of writing.
Well, I was going to say, you say you've sort of looking into it for a year, but actually you've been looking into how to be confident your whole life, because despite, being this very outspoken person, very unapologetic in your approach, confidence didn't come naturally to you to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, if we rewind 10 years, I used to work for N-Power doing door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
So I had a postcode in Gloucester where I'd have to knock on about 100 doors to make a sale. It wasn't about confidence, it was about being completely fine with it not going right. And with every door that I knocked on and failed, it added to my competency, it improved my pitch, and I was thinking to myself, eventually one of the doors I knock on is going to be a successful sale. So then I managed to take that through my early on career working in sales and marketing. So when I became a PT, it wasn't about taking rejection personally on the gym floor. I thought to myself, there's a certain amount of people I'm going to have to talk to get a client. And the same goes in the dating world. There's a certain amount of people I need to talk to get a number, a certain amount of numbers I'll have to talk to arrange a date, and a certain amount of dates I'll have to go on to find a partner who's suitable to me. So many people think they need this magical potion of confidence or an elixir or something that we're born with, when the fact of the matter is a lot of people are using this as a mask, as a guise to choose the path of inaction, of not doing things. And I wanted to make people very aware with this book that that's what's happening.
So failure, rather than strip you of your confidence, failure should make you more confident.
There's a massive utility to failure that we don't talk about, and we're not educating young people and people even that aren't young about this. With every time you fail at something, not only do you become a little bit more competent in your endeavour, you're actually finding out what doesn't work. And whether that is sales, whether it's communication, whatever endeavour it is, by finding out what doesn't work, you can, really diversify the modalities that you use to find success.
Do you find, though, that you can be confident in some areas and then not in others?
Yeah, for instance, this weekend, event in Apollo, 3,500 people. Doing that, I won't be too nervous. But if we rewind about a year and you say, James, that girl that you said, was looking really good, if you go get a number, I'll be like, well, God, I'll be saying to myself, no, I'm too nervous. So
yeah. So how do you address that balance then? Because it's not going to work in all areas of your life, or can it?
100%. I would say it's an experience thing. I mean, my first ever talk had 7 people in, and I was very happy to go through the motions of, progressing in that area. But because of conveniences I had in my younger life, like dating apps, imagine confidence like fitness. It's something that hasn't been trained in years. So suddenly it is daunting and it is going to be uncomfortable. So with that in life, there can be areas of our life that we're incredibly confident. Even, let's say you guys here in the studio, this is very familiar to you, but there might be something else I'd ask you to do and you'd be like, oh, that sounds very daunting, or going to a new gym, or whatever it is. So we all need to appreciate we have gaps in our confidence. We have somewhere we can work on.
What about these books that say, there is actually a secret to life, and that is picture what you want and it will manifest in front of you?
Yeah, manifestation, I think, is interesting and also a little bit dangerous, that we sit there and just say, if you think about it enough, it's going to happen. But expectations and confidence do play a big role. And if we look at expectations, placebos, the reason we have, double-blind controlled studies is that if I give you a pill and say this is going to give you pain relief, it's going to work. And the bigger the pill, the more pain relief it will give you, even as a placebo. Even in the vaccine trials, a large percentage of people that were given something that wasn't a vaccine reported feeling ill. So your idea of what's going to happen is massively going to influence how it goes or how you feel about it. So when we look into the realm of something like confidence, we can't just manifest our desires and want to wake up tomorrow feeling as confident as Tony Robbins or whatever it is. But instead, we can start to use mental practice. Like, everything we think about in our minds leans towards a pessimistic outcome. And I think that's probably an evolutionary trait. If I think about human beings that were overly optimistic for hundreds of thousands of years, they'd go, oh, saber-toothed tiger, this looks cuddly, or they'd see a big stretch of water and they think, I could swim that.
So it's protection.
It's protection, and through evolution, we do have this pessimistic outcome. I know that if my phone rings late at night, I think, oh, what's happened to this person? Or, you know, if I get a pain in my side, I'm like, guys, this is it, I'm gonna die. So when we do have this pessimistic outcome, say you're going on a date, we often think, what if this is the worst date I go on? And I get people to flip it and say, what if it's the best? People go, what if quitting my job is the worst decision I make this year? What if it's the best decision? So we can influence and impact our expectations, and I think that's about as close as we should go to the idea of manifestation.
Right, OK. What about this pain point thing that you talk about in the book? How does that help?
Yeah, so a lot of people, I was a personal trainer on the gym floor for years, they'd come over and they'd be like, James, you know, I want to get a bit more toned and want to get a bit more fit. And I wouldn't buy it. I'd say there's something else. It's pretty daunting for you to come meet a PT. What is it? And we'd delve and delve and delve. And they'd go, do you know what? I want my husband to stop turning the light off before we have sex. And I was like, that's it. That's the pain point.
God.
And again, with things like dating, someone might go, oh, I want to put myself out, or some bravado male might say, yeah, you know, I want to get laid more. You go further, and the truth is they're lonely. So if people can find these pain points, whether it's being lonely, undervalued, you know, whatever it is in their life, they can use that as a motivator. Because
So you've got to be quite honest with yourself then.
100%, because if you can't touch upon that pain point deep down inside, you're going to struggle to get motivated, because getting up to go to the gym, getting up and talking to the stranger, these things require some kind of fire in the belly to do it. And I think having these pain points in mind is really important, because through life, we get all of these different opportunities, even throughout the day, where we either take action or inaction. To do nothing is to do something. And I say to people, whatever you're not changing, you are choosing. So whether it's thinking about approaching someone, whether at work or on the train or whatever it is, or telling your boss how you feel, if you continually pick a path of inaction, that's something that you are choosing. And it's not something that comes easy to people, but they're in their head, they're in this mental lingo, do I do it, do I do it? I'm lonely, I'm gonna go talk to them. And if that doesn't work out, the person might lie about having a partner, whatever it is, you just became more competent at that approach. You just realized after, in retrospect, it wasn't that scary. Or if it's communicating with your boss. And over time, if you can build evidence that things are much scarier before they occur, and that afterwards, even if that person wasn't interested or your boss doesn't give you the pay rise or whatever it is, you just took a step into developing a better version of yourself.
Well, you're brilliant.
It's very good. You should come back and do a phone-in as well. I feel like we need to do a confidence phone-in.
Did your friends think you were mad when you started this?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a lot of friends try and talk me out of becoming a PT. I had friends that, you know, my rugby teammates for years used to take the out of me from, I used to write blogs and articles or whatever it was, and they'd come up and they'd be like, oh, Smithy, can we eat carbohydrates? Or we'd be having a meal after the game. They'd be like, you can't eat that. And, you know, 3-4 years into posting every day on social media, you would have thought I was insane. And it was only really when you get past that point, you know, 4 years in, that I got my first online client, that it all made sense. And now people look at me now and they go, oh, you're pretty confident. I go, I've been doing this 10 years. I could get someone to do basket weaving for 10 years and they look pretty confident when they're doing it. If you get anyone to do something the majority of their life for a long period of time, in retrospect, people will look at all their hard effort and just brush it over as, oh, they're a confident person. They were born that way.
Amazing.
Well, thanks, James. Good to meet you. There it is.
Thank you very much indeed for coming in, and we'll see you soon, hopefully, for that phone-in if you've got time.
Thank you.
And as you will have gathered, when he is online and doing his stuff, he's quite straight talking.